As the Blue Jays get settled here on the dais, just a reminder, raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. And as we usually do, we ask Coach for opening remarks on today's battle.
First off, congrats to Coach Dutcher and the San Diego State program. Obviously, we've played them a lot for two teams that aren't anywhere close geographically to each other. And as I said yesterday, shared a charter with them. So we're well aware of the character with which that program is built on. And we have tremendous respect for them. And we had a game that came down to the very end last year that went into overtime, and we had a game that came down to the very end today. And fortunately, we won last year, and we were a little short this year. But it doesn't take away, I won't allow it to take away from what these guys have accomplished, how they've galvanized not just a campus community or an Omaha community, but really anybody that's had anything to do with Creighton, that's been touched by Creighton in any way in their lives. They've stopped what they were doing the last couple Friday and Sundays, and they've came on this ride with us. And to witness how these guys represent the name in the front of their jersey, it's really what sports is all about. And you win with class and you lose with class. And that's what we're going to do. We had opportunities. Defensively, obviously, we held them to 37%. It's good enough. We just, we had some decent looks at the basket the second half, and we're unable to knock them down. But all the credit goes to San Diego State, and it's on us that we didn't quite get it done, not anyone else.
Thank you, Coach. First question is front row here on the right side.
Joel Lorenzi with the Omaha World Herald. R2, I won't ask you to speak on officiating, but the final call, just waiting all that time to see the results. Just describe that feeling to me, knowing that your season could end at the free throw line.
It's a tough feeling. You work so hard all year, and it comes down to a play like that. I don't know. I think we could have done a little bit more to make it a game that didn't have to go down to that, but it's a tough way to lose.
Your wrist, it seemed like you were tending to your wrist late in that second half. Did that have any effect down the stretch, or what ended up happening with your wrist?
I mean, yeah, I got bumps and bruises, but everybody got bumps and bruises. It's late in the year, everybody's hurting, so I'm not going to say that's the reason that we lost. Things happen. We fell short, credit to SDSU.
More questions here in the interview room, and while I say that, reminder, those of you on Zoom, if you have a question, use the raise hand feature and we'll work you in. Let's go front row, right side.
Greg, two parts, both on the officiating. One is I'm curious what your thought were on the call on Ryan Nembhard, obviously that proved to be the decisive basket. Do you think that was indicative of the way the game was called today? And the second part is I'm curious if you were given an explanation at the very end of the game.
The only part I'll answer is no, I wasn't given an explanation. They just didn't think there was any time left. There was no call on the floor on whose ball it was, so I don't know. I'm not sure what they were reviewing. But I'm Pete, with all due respect, two teams played their tails off. Officiating's part of the game, and we're not going to go there. We lost the game because we didn't do enough, and San Diego State did.
Stay on the right side.
Coach, really limited run for Farabello tonight. What was the strategy behind that, personnel-wise?
Yeah, I'll probably watch the film and maybe regret that. I've rode these five hard all year long, and when you get to this point, the old saying, you dance with the one that brought you, and these guys have done a terrific job, and Francisco's been terrific as well, but with the longer timeouts and actually, you got an extra timeout there too, where it's a full timeout. And I was asking them a lot if they needed a blow, and when they tell me no, I trust them. So these guys earned the right to be on the floor when this game was decided.
Left side on the aisle.
Yeah, Rick Bozich, WDRB in Louisville. For Ryan, you were the defender on the last play. What was your view of what happened?
I don't know. He just they came off a little screen. He got downhill and tried to make a floater. I tried to make a rear view contest. He caught a foul, so yeah.
Back to the front on the right.
Baylor, that bucket with about, 20 seconds left, the steal and the layup, it felt like that's probably what we would have remembered from this game had you guys won. Just describe to me what was going through your head throughout all those reviews and all the time you guys spent waiting on the end result.
Yeah, well, we just wanted to, make the tough catch, or make the catch tough, excuse me. And, they weren't bringing anybody else, back. It was just me and that guy, and he was kind of posting me up, yelling at the inbounder to, throw it. And as soon as, he let it go, I knew he was throwing it deep, and so I just released and was able to beat him to the other side. And luckily he jumped and just whiffed totally, and it just dropped right in my arms, and I was able to lay it in and tie the game up.
Front row, right side.
Greg, an interesting strategy point at the end of the game. You foul, you had one to give. It also negated the shot clock, which maybe gave them a little bit extra time. I'm wondering if you could just walk through the decision-making process there.
I think it was 2 seconds difference, and they had their play set up. They were going into a high ball screen situation, and I just felt with 6 seconds left, we kind of knew what they had in their bag from a side out of bounds standpoint, and we thought we could get into a situation where it was going to be a last second deal. Had there been 4 seconds or more, I probably wouldn't have done it. We thought with under 3 that it was probably the right play, but it's coaching. Sometimes what you decide to do is right. Sometimes what you decide to do is wrong. But had they gone in and laid it in and we not fouled, I'd be kicking myself for that one too.
Going to take a quick Zoom call here, guys, from Dan.
Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. Coach, I know that the way that the season went this year, this is obviously not the way that you wanted it to end. Just what you could say on reflecting on the season and the effort that you've seen in your guys and just what Creighton has brought to this country. It's a terrible way to see it end, but it's been a beautiful story up until this point.
Yeah, and it's what transpired this season has been a wonderful journey to be part of. You have ebbs and flows to every season. This was the most adversity that was in my coaching career that was ever thrown at a good team, a team that really had to do special things, and yet they were relatively young. R2 and Trey and Art, when we went through that in late November and December, they played 37, 38 college games. So to watch them navigate that adversity and watch them grow and watch Kalk and Reef and Farabello and Baylor, all these guys work together to get through that was really rewarding. And I knew then that this team had a chance because they weren't going to let anything tear them apart. And coaching, that's what it's all about. You want your team to grow. You want your team to get better. You want your team to come close to reaching their potential. You want your team to be playing their best basketball at the end of the season. And we checked all those boxes, and we did it in a way that where they exhibited the character and the people that they are throughout the process. These guys are people for others. And when you have a team of guys like that, individuals like that, it's a beautiful thing to coach. And I'll always be indebted to them. And as I told them in the locker room, I really appreciate that I had the opportunity to coach them.
Anything else? Okay. Guys, thank you so much for your
you.
time this week. We appreciate you.
Thank you.